we were one of the first deep-in companies that heavily gamified the user experience, and it's working like a charm, actually.
Hi guys, welcome back to Project Spotlight. Today we've got Ali, the CEO and co-founder of NATIX Network, a global mapping network of cameras doing some super cool and innovative stuff in the deep in space. Welcome, Ali.
Thank you guys for having me on board. Super excited to chat.
Cool, great to have you here. Should we kick off by giving us a bit of a rundown of NATIX and its innovative approach to deep in?
Yeah, so what we're doing with NATIX is we're trying to create a dynamic map of our world where it holds information like where are available parking spots, potholes, traffic congestions, collisions on the road. And the source of data for this dynamic map is what we call Internet of Cameras. It's a crowdsourced camera network that is also supercharged by crypto economy, which actually helps us to bootstrap that camera network, I would say 100 to 1,000 times faster than any existing Web2 model that is out there. Our flagship product is called DriveN, is a driver companion application that rewards the users for roaming around and collecting, rich geospatial data. You just have to download the app, put the phone on the dashboard of your car. As you're driving around, the AI kind of scans the road to detect what the AI is trained to detect, like, as I said, potholes, accidents, available parking spots, and you actually earn reward for contributing with your infrastructure and with the data. And, our approach to this app is very, let's say, Web 2.5. So for example, we have a marketplace in the app, very similar to Sweatcoin, if you guys have seen it. So you can go and convert your your rewards into a wide variety of products and services like AirPods, Oculuses, electronics, car products, insurance products, and so on. And we also, as I said in the beginning, we try to add a lot of utility to this app. The good old Web2 way. Bring users to your app because there's a ton of utility, not because you're paying them, right? So we started adding dashcam. You can record the last 60 seconds of your trip in case you get into an accident for insurance claiming purposes. Navigation, you can basically navigate very similar quality that you're going to get from Waze or Google Maps. And parking, for example, we can show you in real time what are the probabilities of you finding a parking spot if you're driving downtown New York. And the fellows who live in such cities, they know the pain point. So we, have a very different approach into how to build a product and a deepen, let's say, project. And yeah, that kind of is represented by this flagship product that we launched around a year ago.
Okay, cool. It'd be good to do a deeper dive into the the back end and the infrastructure and how how that works in terms of sort of data collection, how that's stored, and what the sort of purpose of it is there. But in terms of the smartphone apps, what kind of traction are you getting? Are you getting good feedback from users?
So all over, I think the numbers would speak for themselves. We have over 70,000 registered drivers and over 19 million kilometers of road covered. The community is doing over 300,000 kilometers every day, more or less. So it's insane. I mean, it's almost the distance to the moon, right? And from the feedback that we have got from the community, so a lot of goods and bads when we started building. Today a lot of goods, but when we just launched the application, like any other product that comes, very fresh into the market, it had its own things that needed to be improved. We added a very strong gamification. These driver assistant applications that I told you, like navigation and parking, are things that we also added we're actually adding because of the feedback from the community. But, we have a very analytical approach to measure what the community says. We're having a product market fit analysis on our product, which is using Sean Ellis's essentially model. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sean Ellis, but he has helped a lot of unicorns, to grow and to measure that they have product market fit. And the foundation of this approach is very simple. You ask your users about your product, and if over 40% of them say that they're extremely disappointed if they cannot use your product tomorrow, then you have product market fit with that customer group and customer persona. So we do have product market fit analytically, both with occupational drivers and commuters that are using our app. So occupational drivers, I mean like taxi drivers, Uber drivers, truck drivers, and commuters are me and you that we'll go to work 2 times a day back and forth, and we're using the app.
If I were to download the app and begin using it, should I have concerns about my data and that being identifiable? Because I guess an obvious question might be, can at some point might an insurance company be able to see my driving habits, or how fast or slow I'm going in certain areas and that kind of stuff?
Very good question. So let me tell you a little bit of our background, why we even started creating NATIX Network. So NATIX is an AI company. We started in 2020 officially. We started to work on this AI stack for cameras. And the USP of this technology is that it's privacy compliant. We even filed a patent on it around a year and a half ago. And in 2021, we started to package this in form of different products: parking monitoring, crowd monitoring, security surveillance. We started monetizing it in Europe to municipalities, to governments, to businesses. And if you're also from Europe, so GDPR and how strict this data privacy regulation is. And when you're selling to governments and to municipalities and to public bodies, you go through a very hefty data privacy assessment, right? If you don't pass that, you cannot get your solution out there. So our solution has been live in city of The Hague, the legal capital of the world in Netherlands, or in a couple of municipalities and cities in Germany, which is crazy in terms of data privacy, enforcement that they have. So later on, we realized that camera infrastructure is expensive. It's not scalable. It's a super sensor, super powerful when you combine it with AI, because what it can do, you can think of it as what a brain and a pair of eyes can do. I always have this funny saying that say, sky is not the limit, AI is the limit, and AI is going super, super fast, as we have seen in the past few years. So we started realizing the power of this sensor, which is also quite commonly available these days, but it was not that cheap to install it and then to kind of allocate it and to build the network that you want. So we are quite deep in native since 2018. That's another story, but we said, okay, why don't we try to crowdsource the infrastructure and tokenize it to bootstrap the network even faster? We saw models like Helium working like a charm, so why don't we try to do the same thing? You asked me about privacy. Sorry, I told you this to say that we have been working on this tech stack since 2020, and the way that it works is that we do on-device processing, and the AI is only detecting the information that the AI is trained to detect, not a bit more, not a bit less. So we're not sending any pictures or videos outside your smartphone. The AI looks at the pictures or video stream in real time on your phone, and if it detects a pothole, for example, it just sends kind of like a text message outside that, hey, I detected a pothole. It was at this size. It was in the middle lane at this location at this time of the day, right? So we call it metadata extraction. So this information, this JSON file that we kind of send out to your smartphone, is free of any personal identifier information, faces, number plates, anything that can identify you. And that's why our solution is I would say the highest grade of privacy compliancy that you can ever get when you're working with any kind of camera infrastructure.
So I'm driving along. I'm using the smartphone app. My data is being uploaded to your infrastructure. What happens to it then? How are you ingesting it? How are you using it to, say, perhaps model environments and locations and so on? And how does that create value for the overall network?
There are two ways that we're using the data. One of them is B2C kind of application building and monetization. The other one is B2B. B2C is that we're building applications and new driver assistant applications and feeding them back to the drivers. Navigation and parking are amongst those things, right? And this is a very, very powerful thing, aside from the fact that, you can add utility to your drivers, and, drivers become also the early demand side of your network. It also has a very strong flywheel effect, which means that, because they're network effect applications, right? Facebook was a network effect application. The more users you have in your network, the better the quality gets for everyone, and that attracts more users to join your network and use it, because it's just better service, it's good service. Same thing with parking and navigation. When you have more drivers, the more data they generate, the better these services get, and that pulls in more drivers by itself. So it has a very strong flywheel effect. All of these network effect applications. So this is B2C side of the data usage and data monetization. For navigation, I think it's quite straightforward. We use it for live traffic and for route planning purposes to get a better service at the end of the day. And for parking, it's also used to increase the accuracy of this heuristic model that we're using to show you predictions of what are your probabilities of finding a parking spot if you're going downtown New York on a specific street, so to say. On the B2B data monetization, I would say there are a couple of bigger customer groups that we're focusing on. The first one is map and navigation service providers, which I also call geospatial data aggregators. Companies like Here Technologies, companies like Mapbox, Google Maps, and so on. What many people don't know is that these guys are, of course, providing you a lot of B2B map and navigation services, but they don't rely on a single source of data. To be able to provide consistent data and consistent quality to their users, they have thousands of different sources of data, and they do what is called data fusion at the end of the day. So just in Europe, for example, one of these companies that we're chatting with, they have over 1,300 sources of data, right? So NATIX could be one source of data, and the applications are quite I would say spread over. For example, we can detect dynamic traffic signs, or dynamic speed limit signs, actually. When the speed limit changes because of the weather condition or construction on the roads and so on, and they have serious gaps in getting this data and getting it in real time, and they actually need this data for autonomous cars to go level 3 autonomy by regulation, by law, right? So this is, for example, one use case that you can contribute with NATIX. Another one is something called road quality index. This index is actually an indicator of what the quality of the road is, right? If you have a lot of potholes, cracks, faded road markings, and so on. And this data is being used by car manufacturers to build cars that are, good for certain parts of the world, right? Because in Germany, the quality of road is very different from India, or if you've traveled with a bunch of other countries in the world. Or municipalities and city planners use it to go and, or road operators use it to go and fix, where it needs fixing. So this is also another, place that NATIX can contribute with pothole data, cracks, faded road markings, and so on and so forth. There are a couple of other customer groups as well, like mobility providers, like parking apps and EV charging apps, or even street level imagery projects, which, definitely can tap into this camera network, but our focus is on the B2C and the map and navigation providers for now.
Okay. I mean, it feels like this is potentially, just still quite early in terms of your capabilities, because if you've got such a robust sort of suite of image analysis tools and your kind of core AI platform, it's not just drivers who have cameras. Yeah, there's drone cameras, there's CCTV on the street, the CCTV in private stores, say, and the number of cameras that are available is kind of exploding. So, have you got plans to address that and start to expand? I could see opportunities where you could build very, very rich data representations of, say, parts of a city, or there's potentially endless use cases there.
100%. I mean, this was our vision from day one. The way that, if you look at our white paper as well, we say we want to build the largest crowdsourced camera infrastructure in the world. And the total number of available cameras right now is around 45 billion. We were talking smartphones, drones, CCTVs, and also, car cameras, for example, right? So these are all available markets for us to tap into. We're doing a lot of internal discussion, what would be the next cameras. We have a couple of strong candidates for CCTV. We even have the product ready, more or less, from our before the pivot from our Web2 business to Web3. We have these little boxes that you can plug into any kind of CCTV camera, and it gets smart pretty much because the AI runs on this box. But so you can use it for your own application, which could be security monitoring or whatnot. And in the background, we could also do other types of data mining. So it's a dual usage. You can buy it for personal use, like you buy a Wi-Fi router, but you're sharing bandwidth with someone else, right? So this would be something along the same line. Drones are very, very attractive because you can do 3D mapping. There are projects that are doing that, already, and car cameras as well. I think cars are becoming more and more powerful, and yeah, this would be another kind of camera that we're looking into. To tap into the market as well. But yes, absolutely. The idea, so the reason we chose a smartphone is just because it's extremely scalable. You don't have to buy any hardware. You don't have to, everyone has it in their pocket. Also, when they buy it, they don't expect, to buy a Lambo. They buy it because they use it on Facebook, on Instagram, messaging, emails, and so on. So if you can repurpose that and use it for other stuff and earn, contribute with data and earn something, that is a jackpot. It's just the most scalable go-to-market that we could come up with to use the smartphones. But definitely, it's in our roadmap to tap into other types of cameras.
Cool. Well, hopefully we can come back and hear more about that as things progress. That leads on quite nicely to talking about your token. And what I'd like to do first is talk about the Island NFTs, because when you've got all of this data collection in certain locations, that feels like quite an intriguing and innovative approach to incentivizing users in certain areas.
The reason we started to introduce Island NFT was we wanted to promote local investment in the network. Like when you buy right now a token of most of the DeFi's, it's an investment into the global network that these guys are building, right? We wanted to enable local investments and local community and network building, because this is spray and pray mechanism doesn't work in many of the DeFi applications. You need concentrated masses for you to be able to monetize that network. So decrease the time to monetization, essentially. That's why we introduced Island NFT, which is essentially dividing the world into tiles, and you can actually kind of be owner of that tile, or somehow be stakeholder of that tile. And what happens is that you put in some money, which is being used for the network, right? For the growth of the network in that local area. And at the end of the day, when data is generated on that piece of land and is being monetized, you actually are a beneficiary of that monetization. So you get something out of it as well, right? Now, the exact model of Island NFT, originally we were planning to sell the tiles. Now we're thinking of doing some different maybe approaches. Maybe people have to stake, to be able to, be let's say tile operators, so to say. And we're also trying to tie the tiles into the governance, because again, governance for us, locality matters. And I think whoever has a stake tokens and got some island, they also will get some governance power from it. So we are still kind of in the process of fine tuning this, because just to introduce another crypto element like an NFT is not. I mean, people do this, and I see this. They introduce just a PFP into their project, and there is no utility, there is nothing special there, and I am fundamentally against it. I think if you're token or NFT or other stuff, they need to have utility, and you need to think about it very carefully if it fits your business model and what you're trying to build and so on. So that's why we kind of paused it a little bit. We're focusing right now on the utility token, but it's still in the timeline to do something like Island NFT, if we find the right approach how to implement it.
Let's delve into the NATIX utility token a little bit then. If you could explain how that links to the platform as it exists now, how it will potentially evolve in the future, and provide the sort of network incentives and value creation mechanisms, that would be really good.
Definitely. So as for the utility token, there are a couple of utilities that we foresee for our utility token. The first one is in-app utility, in-product utility. So this mobile application that we have, DriveN, is I think the gateway between us and the contributors or the nodes that we have in our network. So you can actually use NATIX token to access certain premium features. So we're trying to bundle a bunch of these advanced driver assistant applications or really exclusive features into paid premium, and you can actually access them by paying for them via the token. So that's like the first utility. Then the other one is that when you hold NATIX token in the app, you can actually unlock certain features. So exclusive marketplace offers or other additional features which we're working on. I cannot spoil it at this point, but there are quite cool features that we are kind of incentivizing people to hold NATIX, and they're going to unlock those features, which will have real utility for the users. Then the other one is actually it comes around participating in the network in terms of validator nodes or system governance. So we have these validator nodes, they're called X nodes. They validated data integrity to make sure that nobody is lying or cheating the system in a decentralized way. And to be able to become an X node, you need to stake NATIX token. And that's how you're going to become a node. And obviously, I think we are going to have a limited slots available, and the top nodes that are staking NATIX, they're going to get basically a paid slot in terms of becoming a validator node, and also for governance. So for voting, essentially, you need to also stake NATIX token. So these are kind of the utilities of the token. Now, many projects, what they do is that they try to monetize the data, let's say, or the infrastructure directly with the token. I think this is by design a flawed model, to be honest with you, because if you talk with any kind of big Web2 player, which are consumers of your data, right, they don't want to deal with the crypto, kind of hassle. They want an SLA from you. They want an agreement from you. They want to pay, through bank transfer. This is all kind of things that, they need. And you cannot just monetize, such a network in a completely decentralized way. It's very different from, let's say, a blockchain right now that has different kind of users using it, right? In Deepin, we are dealing with a lot of non-crypto native guys at the end of the day. So the way that we are doing it is we're monetizing the protocol and the infrastructure with fiat, completely Web2 way. And the revenue that we're generating from the monetization, we're going to capture it back into the token. Let's say the value is going to be accrued to the token. We're going to put a big portion of it into buyback and bird, and then another big portion of it into stakers, essentially. So depending on how much you have stake, what is your staking tier, we're going to give rewards to the stakers. And this is how we're foreseeing value accrual from monetization of the protocol back to the token.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. You mentioned X nodes, I think was the term for validators within your network. Can you just explain a little bit more about that and how that works? What are they actually validating? So going back to the use case of me as a consumer, I'm in my car, I'm submitting data as I drive. How is that data validated for, I guess, proof of integrity and so on?
Yeah. So we have 3 proofs that we foresee for validation. One of them is proof of location. The other one is proof of computation and proof of live stream. So let me try to explain what each one of these 3 is and why do we need it. And some of them, by the way, are rather general for other Deepin projects as well. Some of them are very kind of related to a camera infrastructure like us. Proof of location is because people can just cheat on their location. They can spoof it. They can just lie about the location that the data was generated. And location is the most critical part of our network because we're talking geospatial data. If you collected the data in India versus New York, it's going to have very different values and worths, right? So we are using kind of distributed mechanisms how to validate this. There are actually a lot of solutions already out in the market. We're not building everything ourselves. We have partners for that, so we're integrating that. But the X nodes are basically in charge of this kind of validations, and they need to reach consensus on this, and the proof basically of these validation will go on chain. This is how we're foreseeing it. Proof of computation refers to the fact that what gives me confidence that when I give you an AI model, you actually run the AI model that I gave you, not some cheaper, lighter version of that AI model, because I am actually rewarding you for just running that AI model constantly, even if you don't collect any data. There's a small reward for that too. Just so in terms of our app, just by driving around and having the camera on, right? So we have to make sure that you actually run the AI model that we gave you, not some other, fake AI model. The third one is proof of live stream. How can we make sure that you're not recording a video, opening your laptop, YouTube, dashcam video on the YouTube, you can search it, there are thousands of them, right? So how can we make sure that you're not just pointing your camera there, spoofing your location, and just recording a feed of the YouTube video? So this is, now it goes very technical, very cool stuff my team has been working on, to be honest with you, how we can validate this. If you guys want, we can definitely dig a little bit deeper. But yeah, these are the 3 proofs that the X-Nodes will be in charge of. On top of that, they also will be in charge of data delivery. So at the end of the day, in a permissionless way, they're going to see who has paid for what data and who has access to what data, and they're going to deliver. Because we're also not just talking about historic data. When you subscribe to pothole data in Berlin or New York as a customer, as soon as a new pothole data is generated in the region that you have subscribed to, you're going to get that live into your platform through the APIs. And X-Nodes are looking at, hey, Dom or Rich subscribed to pothole data exactly in this region, or they didn't. And as soon as that data is generated, they will deliver it to you guys in case you have paid for it and subscribed for it.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, when you said it, it reminded me of when people used to spoof their daily active user numbers for smartphone games, and they had a huge farm of smartphones on racks, kind of with an AI playing the games. You could do that with hundreds of thousands of phones filming dashcam footage.
Yeah. Except that we have other approaches. These are not really, let's say, on-chain approaches. They're offline, not offline, but off-chain. And we actually detect all of those things, and we block them. I mean, it's if I tell you stories of what we have detected and all this kind of bandwagon of things, it's super, super fun. People are very creative in cheating the system. I can tell you that.
Can you share a couple of them? Would be kind of good to hear.
Yeah, so for example, the one that you mentioned, right? You can put 50 phones on the front of your, let's say, truck, and then you can just drive NATIX and earn 50 times, right? So how can we stop that? So we have this kind of sweet time period. We reward the first user that detects the data a certain amount. The second user that detects the same data is a validator, so the second validator, so to say, so he earns a bit less than the third one, and that's it. And then there is a sweet spot time. So that means for the next, let's say, 8 hours, some data types, for the next 24 hours, we don't reward anything and anyone, right? So yes, if you use 50 phones on the dashboard of your car, you might get reward for 2 of them or 3 of them. And the third one, by the way, is less than the first one. But the rest of the 47 are going to be completely useless, and you're just spending your battery and bandwidths and everything for nothing, essentially. So this is like one of the mechanisms that we have put in place. Then we have like real-time fraud detection, we have overtime fraud detection from the behavior of the users, and so on. So I will love to give you guys super details, but for sake of confidentiality, I can't, because these are things that we are using to prevent people from cheating. So if I spill it out how we're doing it, people will try to get smart and go around it. But I would be more than happy to do it offline in case you guys are interested.
Sure. No, that's cool. Completely understand. You want to keep some of that private, at least for now. Could you talk about partnerships and what chain that you're running on?
Yeah, so as for partnerships, we have both Web2 and Web3 partnerships. So for Web2 side of the story, we're working with a couple of very big geospatial data players in the market, Web2. And they're interested to tap into our network. So we're closing a couple of pilots with these players to really show the B2B monetization side of the story. Then on the chain, let's say, and so on, the token will be housed in Solana. I think we all can agree that Solana is one of the best performing chains. It's just a good technology, period. Nobody can kind of, argue with that. Whoever has used Solana, they have realized, even me personally, that it's just a good chain, period. It's just a good tech stack, period. And forget about the up and down of the market and so on. When you have a good technology and you see it, it's just, sweet to use it. So the token will be housed in Solana, and Solana obviously has a strong deepin community as well. But we're still, working also with one of our partners, Peak, to explore and integrate some deepin components, because they have off-the-shelf deepin components like device identity and so on, which would kind of power the back end of our solution, to make the system more secure, and more transparent. And yeah, these are kind of the chain kind of partnerships that we have.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for that.
Of course.
Just in terms of the consumer uptake and the gamification, because I actually downloaded the app myself and had a quick look at it.
Cool.
And there's some quite good, like, do something with your friends, do a quick sprint, all this sort of stuff. Looks quite good fun.
Is it similar? Is it sort of analogous to Sweatcoin, where you can earn points in the app and then at a later date you'll convert them into tokens for consumers?
Yeah, so the way that the app works is you compete in monthly cycles, a calendar month. Let's say right now we're in the April cycle, and you can earn points in that monthly cycle. According to your ranking on the leaderboard, you're going to get a certain amount of token at the end of the month, added to your balance. And the way that you can compete within the monthly cycle is, the easy option is you just drive and have the camera on. And for every data that you collect, you're going to earn more points on that month. But a gamified version that we added is that you can also do missions. Missions are time-limited tasks that you anyway do by contributing to the network. But if you do them through missions, you're going to earn more points, essentially. So examples are drive 10 kilometers in the next 24 hours, detect 20 traffic participants in the next 5 hours, refer one friend in the next 12 hours, and so on. Or connect your wallet. Even we just went live with Wallet Connect, and we're engaging the users to kind of do that task. We're going to add a lot of really, really cool stuff as well, like even social presence and things like that into this kind of missions. And yeah, so you can actually increase your earning by engaging. Now, why did we do this kind of gamification and missions? Is because we realized smartphones are very powerful. They're extremely scalable. If you order a kind of a dash cam from a competitor, you have to wait like few months because they have to build it, deliver it to you, and so on. So versus with NATIX, you can just use it, right? But on the other hand, there's a friction for the user, right? Every time you need to remember to bring your phone out and put it on the dashboard of the car. We're aware of that. So we said, okay, how can we try to improve this and make it essentially disappear so that hardware doesn't have a chance to compete with us? And gamification was a big part of it. It was one of our biggest product bets, and I think it worked extremely well. We launched it on November 15th, this kind of missions and so on, and our engagement or network activity metrics like daily active drivers, weekly active drivers, retention, stickiness, they went anywhere from 4x to 15x in a span of 2 months. And it was even before the craze of the bull cycle, right? Bull market that we have now. So we know that these metrics are, because of the gamification. So we were one of the first deepin companies that heavily gamified the user experience, and it's working like a charm, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's some quite impressive metrics. 4 to 15 times, you said. Cool. So, so let's just talk a little bit about roadmap, where you guys are now, what's in the pipeline for the next few months, and where you see the platform going in the longer term.
Yeah, so we are focusing on the token launch as we speak. So more information on that soon. Exact dates, we're going to announce it to the community and to everyone. But token launch is something that we're working on extensively. Then there's a lot of really, really cool stuff that we're adding to the app. So driver assistant applications, as I said, they're coming. Most of them are ready. Even some of the beta testers have already used our navigation, and we have got a lot of really good positive feedback from that. There are a couple of partnerships that we are cooking up, both with, again, Web2 or deepin and also traditional data players. So for B2B monetization of the data, we're working and we're having a few of these, customers on the pipeline. And on the Web3 sort of partnership, we are having, a lot of things that we're cooking with other Deepin projects, because the way that we see this world of Deepin is cross collaboration between Deepin projects. So we're having a cross collaboration with another Deepin project, whom are providing very precise location for any kind of device, so that can increase the worth of the data, right? Even up to centimeter accuracy. So we're working with them to see how can we, integrate them and increase the localization accuracy of the user and of the data that they're generating. Or we're working with like decentralized compute platforms for the training of the AI models that we're having to also reduce our cost. But it's a proper integration essentially. So a lot of these partnerships are on the way, and a few other kind of pieces that I cannot share much, but we're going to expand the network drastically, and probably tap into other types of cameras as well.
Okay, intriguing. Well, hopefully we can have you back on and we can talk about that a little bit more. First, for our community, could you just give them a really super quick explainer? How can they get involved? Where can they find out more information about your project?
So go to our website, www.natix.network. I think that's the single source of truth for everything. Definitely follow us on Twitter. I think Twitter is the main channel that we are pushing all of the news out. So you can tag us probably under your post, our Twitter handle. But if I'm not wrong, it's @NATIX Network. Just download the app and start driving, because we have a big airdrop program that we're going to also give out once 100 million kilometers are mapped. So, and you don't have to just drive, you can also join our community. We have Zili actually, which is a community engagement tool. So if you're not a driver, if you don't have the chance to drive, you can still contribute with Zili, be part of the community, and be part of this, big airdrop that we are having once we hit the big milestone, of the project. And if you have any questions or anything, we would be more than happy to engage and hear from you.
That's great. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Ali. It's been really great to hear more about the project. I look forward to seeing what happens in the next few weeks and months.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Ali. It's been great to hear about NATIX. Yeah, looking forward to it. I'll be putting it on my car and trying it out.
Definitely. And let me know what you think. Looking forward to hear feedbacks, of course.
I've just downloaded it 5 times, so I'll stick 5 phones on the front of my car.
Well, hopefully you only earn with 3 of them, but you can still try.